listening to the Capital PTBO Sports Show, an MNC podcast production, also simulcast on your TV, Peterborough, Lindsay. Come and check us out at the Capital PTBO in downtown Peterborough at 370 George Street North. On the program today, the Bills have lived up to the hype. Aaron Judge is flirting with maybe the greatest season ever, and Austin Matthews says he feels like Toronto is home. All of that, plus the return of the ever-popular Docs Box, all of your emails, and our Mano-y-Mano showdown with a focus on the best running backs' yard totals. As always, though, we say hello to Mark Million and producer Matty. Gentlemen, how are we after a little bit of a week off?
Good. It's the first edition of the Capital PTBO After Dark, because we're recording this for the first time ever when it's not light outside. So it's kind of it's a different feeling.
That's right. Mark, what's going on, man? How are you?
Just can I say something personally? Congratulations, Matt Latour. A terrific job on the Mann Cup broadcast.
Oh, thank you.
Your TV obviously did a bang-up job, but Matt Latour was on the other side of it, feeding the rest of Canada.
Yeah.
So terrific job, Matthew. Way to go, brother. Otherwise, it's been a terrific week. Weather's been decent. We're going to get that break now. It's going to be nice and cool. I like that.
Yeah.
But not too cool, you know?
Mercy's already wearing a sweater.
Yeah, and I'm
regretting this.
T-shirt, shorts, and no sock sandals. Like, I'm ready to go.
Well, if you're ready to go and you want to support the show, you can become a subscriber on Patreon. Check that out, patreon.com/capitalptbo. For a monthly donation, you can get some cool benefits, including your name on the Wheel of No Winning, which is what we're about to spin right now. Can you reset the Wheel of No Winning for those who might be tuning in for the first time?
So you donate to any level on Patreon, and you get onto the Wheel of Win Nothing.
I missed it again.
Mercy, I'll get it one of these weeks.
Jeez.
So I believe we've just got the 4 names on there right now.
Correct.
Right?
4 names.
Dara Scullard, Brad Sinclair, Jim Murray, and myself.
Yes.
Jim Murray is a 3-time champion, I believe.
Yes.
He is 75% winning percentage.
And Dara won the other one.
Correct.
There we go. So this is a big moment here. And it's spinning. Still don't have any music for this. One of these weeks we will. It's slowing down.
We need a couple more subscribers to get the music. We got to
Absolutely.
pay for the archive.
Yeah, we got to pay for the footage.
And 4-time champion Jim Murray takes it home.
Way to go. Jimmy from Ennismore. What
Jim
a beauty.
is a wagon.
He is a weapon.
is. Good job, Jimmy. We always appreciate anyone who takes time to check out patreon.com/capitalptbo. Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it. Now, I do want to go back to the Lakers here for a second. Matt, you did do a great job with the coverage. I watched pretty well, I'm going to say 90% of every single one of those games, which admittedly, I'm not bred in the Peterborough lacrosse culture. When I was where I was from in Whitby, yes, Brooklyn was good occasionally, but there was never a time where me and my friends in high school were saying, hey, are you going to the Brooklyn-Redmond game tonight? That would just never, ever happen. And I've embraced it, and I've become a little bit of not a lacrosse expert, but certainly an admirer of what the athleticism and some of the strategy points of the game. And what I will say is, boy, that was a very fun series to watch.
Yeah.
And going into it, I had a source close to me say, look, the East always dominates the West. It's just a better league. Looking top to bottom, Langley, not as many NLL players, et cetera, et cetera. I was super impressed with not only what they brought, even in Game 7, but, I mean, to be able to punch back the way they did in Game 6, I thought was very impressive. So it was just all around a very thrilling watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And having been, privy to watch many of these sort of Man Cups, it really is. It's a game of runs, like Pete Dalliday would say in the broadcast. But you had everything here. You had, the home team down 2-0 in second game in very dramatic fashion. You get the double OT win. You get the,
controversy.
The controversy to end the game to score the 11th goal or 10th goal to tie it up, whatever it was.
Yep.
And then you've got Peterborough comes all the way back. 3 straight games. They 12-5 in Game 5. Like, Vince was terrific. And then an egg in 6 for Peterborough. And you're thinking, okay, here we go. We're going to go to 7. And no Shawnee Evans in 7, and guys are dropping. So you had a little bit of everything. The only shame, I guess, maybe is that maybe it was only watched in a couple of spots. Where it's really a thing. Guys in BC and people in Ontario. But
I think there was
terrific.
about 3,800 watching during the live. I'm sure it's since
Game
ballooned.
7, we peaked at about 6,700 viewers.
That's crazy.
Terrific.
And all 7 games, last I checked on YouTube, which is a few days ago, now have 20,000 views each because people can go back and rewatch the replays of them. I was staggered to see that kind of support. But that Mann Cup, I mean, I was exhausted after doing 7 games in 9 days in a booth, let alone playing. Like these guys all have to be iced right now. Like it's they got to be beat up after that.
Take me through Game 7, Matt. You and I are sort of texting back and forth. I mean, Peterborough jumps out really good, and then all of a sudden, the second half of the second period, all of a sudden it looks like Langley. Hey, wait a minute! They weathered that early haymaker.
Yeah.
They're on a run, as you pointed out.
Yep.
And I thought, it was pivotal for the Lakers to score at the end of that period because I think they had only had 1 goal the entire period up until that point. And they get sort of a shot off the end board that comes out and, the player grabs it and throws it in. But up until then, I was thinking this could be Langley's game.
Yeah.
Like they took a shot and now, they're playing extremely well. Goaltending had sort of settled down. The Lakers not generating much in the way of offense. And then Peterborough comes out and quite literally plays almost a perfect 20, in the final period. But you were saying, Matt, it went from the loudest building that you had ever heard for, this type of game to you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah, I think I texted you that second goal when Peterborough took the lead. That was deafening to be part of. And I was in a booth with 4 walls around me. And then, that second period, Matt Vince let a couple tough ones in, down by the feet. And I think Langley noticed that because they went there a lot and they scored a lot of their goals there. And then the third period, Langley went from having so much momentum to just coming out flat. You get shut out in the third period of a Game 7 for a national championship. That says, I think, a lot more about the Peterborough Lakers than it does the Langley Thunder because they were a great team all series. But the Lakers, they had that extra gear, and that comes from winning, 3 straight Mann Cups before that.
Sure.
Their best shown their best when it mattered most. Because I think you could probably argue that over the course of that 7-game series, and maybe even the 7-game series before with 6, it could probably be argued that maybe not necessarily the team... Peterborough may not have been the best team in those 2 series, end to end, stretch to stretch. Vince played terrific. Certainly the third period, did Langley score? I don't think they even scored.
No, they got shut out, yeah.
So it was nice to see there's a lot of those guys that are coming to, they're in the twilight now. Evie's there and Corey Vitarelli and...
Evie signed with Vancouver today, too.
Yeah, Vancouver Warriors, yeah. So leaving Halifax, which... is kind of the plight of that National Lacrosse League, which makes it a little bit harder, guys flying around. If you could get one guy to replace Evie, if you can bring Curtis Dixon in.
Oh, boy. MVP of the series on the losing team.
Kid scores 16 goals. How many goals were 4 inches off the ground? Unbelievably hard to stop.
I think I'd have to double check the number. I think he had 42 points in 7 games, which is absurd. And Holden Catoni had a great series. And a lot of people thought he was going to win the MVP.
Sure.
Thomas Hogarth, when he was in, was really effective.
It was like watching with Dixon. It's interesting. It was like watching a basketball player where it was okay, let's just ISO and let this guy do his thing. It was okay, let's give it to Dixon, run a little bit of a pick, and he's going to somehow find the corner.
Right.
And Dane Dobie as well. He had a good series.
Dane Dobie was
Those 2 guys though, it felt like they were all the offense.
Was it just me or Dane Dobie a little bit Brad Marchandish?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
mean, we got Sean Evans on our team here.
We're sure.
The ending of 2 of the different games was interesting. They had to cut away on your TV because people are going at it and swearing.
Oh, I think it was the coach was yelling.
And Scott Arnold's just like a deer in the headlights, being what's going on here?
I love Scott Arnold. I've never seen him so red hot. He came up, he was swearing, walking up the steps of the Memorial Center towards our booth afterwards, and he had some choice words.
He led off the interview with, not a lot of class coming out for loss here. The Langley Thunder.
He's like, I'm getting in on this.
What are you doing? The coach is going to and I realize Shawnee's that type of guy, right? He can get under your skin because he ate, what did he eat, 11 high sticks in Game 5 or whatever? How many in the throat?
And half of them he got called on penalties for. See, Sean Evans is, I think, you mentioned Brad Marchand, he is that. Because I have never met somebody in lacrosse outside of Peterborough that actually likes Sean Evans. And I'm talking refs, broadcasters, players' girlfriends, everybody hates Sean Evans except for here in Peterborough where he's a hero. Which is amazing.
It's a testament to just how great he is, right?
Yeah.
Anytime they boo you in an opposing building. And he was a major part of this series because he actually became the Mann Cup all-time leading scorer as well.
With
which
John
was
Tavares and John Grant Jr. in the house.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Terrific.
A lot of great stuff there. And, I mean, boys, is the drive for 5 alive? Like, we're ready to go?
Feels that way.
Like, we're already... Because that's unprecedented. This had been done before, but in the
That's right.
1950s. Now it's like, let's make our own history. Let's do it.
And you look at this roster, like we mentioned, Katoni, Mark Matthews had a great series. They've got so much firepower in waves. Jake Withers was with the PLL with the Water Dogs. He didn't even play in this series, and he's arguably the best faceoff guy in the world. So, I mean, I think the drive for 5 is very much alive. Six Nations is going to give them problems, I think, as they always do. But and as far as the MSL goes, that might be it.
Oakville Rock coming back in. The dynasty starts.
All 300 of their
Oakville Rock.
fans are just salivating.
So that's a little bit of lacrosse talk off the hop, and just fantastic stretch of time. Like, I was enjoying every night, and I like the fact that it is 7 and 9 days.
Yeah.
Where it's like
a grind.
water cooler talk,
Right.
just out the yin yang, like every day at the office.
You go
Gotta
on a
figure that out.
vacation for a week and you miss it.
Yeah.
Like, it's over.
I like it.
Austin Matthews on playing in Toronto on his contractual future, which has been much speculated for, it feels like, 3 years now.
Yeah.
The question of, is he going to stay in Toronto? Is he going to go home to Arizona? Everybody thought that. Maybe he goes to an American market. Direct quote, I really love playing in the city of Toronto. I consider it home now, end quote. What, if anything, do we read into that comment, Mark? Or is it one of those cases that, I mean, what else is he going to say?
I think it's exactly that. What else is he going to say? You're standing on the precipice of having a really great team go down the tubes and in a playoff success sort of way.
Sure.
I mean, they're a 50-win team. They run a wagon. They run a train the entire year. And then for whatever reason, the postseason is their kryptonite. You can't come out and say, well, I'm thinking about other markets. You can't say that.
Or even something like, oh, no, I like it here. I'm not going to really address... Like, you can't even go with that. Something that flaccid, the media would have been all over it right away.
So I think the kid's got to say that. And the prevailing thought here, we get a lot of people that come in here, the Capital, and when they want to talk Leafs hockey, it's the very first thing that if we bring up Matthews, oh, he's gone. Oh, he's going to Arizona. Oh, they're going to need somebody to sell
To play in an
seats.
OHL barn?
Okay, if we could sidebar that,
Sure.
trust me, that's going to be terrific.
It's going to be a great atmosphere, but
3,500 people, and you're going to get to watch Connor McDavid play at something the size of the Mem Center?
Let's go.
Holy smokes, you can put me on the plane.
Could be a Patreon subscription away from us taking a fan down.
Yeah, if you want to spend $6,000 to send us three plus you down to the rink,
We can make
trust
that
me,
happen.
We can make it happen.
we'll even pay for dinner.
Yes, that's true.
You know what the beauty part of
Sonic.
it is? There's no booze
Oh, yeah.
because you're on campus. 0 jars. So the boys it'll be dry and raucous. But imagine watching McDavid, these sort of guys playing in an OHL barn. Terrific. That'd be lovely.
I think one of the things that I'll point to is that one of his teammates is named John Tavares. And one of his teammates, John Tavares, was very outspoken in support of staying with the New York Islanders.
Yeah.
And how great it was to be there, and I can't see myself going anywhere else, but blah, blah, blah. So I guess why I preface that is saying that things change rather quickly.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
who knows how the season goes. We'll get into it, too, because interesting, Kyle Dubas, he's actually entering the year with no contract extension either, and he was quoted as saying, I won't let it be a distraction. I fully expect to be judged on the full body of work over my last 5-year term of my contract. But he admitted that he feels like maybe it's a fair move by management because they haven't had the playoff success.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Is that a good thing going into the last season with it feels like kicking up speculation, all over the place.
Would Dubas would management or fans feel any different if they had 5 second-round exits? Is it the same?
Probably not.
No, probably not.
No.
If you jammed a couple of conference finals into the mix, way different story. Like we talk about the 90s Leafs the way people talk about, the 2000s Boston Bruins or whatever, when they had that run of, that was for us. Like that was for Leaf fans. It's not like we're talking about that here. So, I think Kyle's done a terrific job. I think he's been hamstrung many times as a young GM, and he's learned in a very hot market that you don't say what you said about Nylander. primarily that's been the number one burn. And maybe in a vacuum, Tavares' deal looks terrible, looks horrifying. But at the time,
goaltending situation has never been quite what it could be. I think most people would point to defense as well.
Yeah,
which is going to happen because they are, and I don't blame him for being top heavy on the roster when you have that level of talent.
Mm-hmm.
And you just hope that one year they sort of figure it out and be able to work with some of the pieces on the back end. But Austin Matthews, Matt, take away Arizona. I mean, is this not the guy who would be the gem of New York City, Los Angeles?
He could be a big market star. And
think about some of those markets, Chicago even, they're going to come back.
Well, and if he
strong.
goes to free agency, he's got to be the biggest free agent since who? Ovechkin never tested it. Crosby never tested it. McDavid never did.
Jeepers. They'd be flying him around like Babcock.
Yeah. He'd be like LeBron.
Hey?
That's
right.
exactly what it would be
They would
like.
need to rent the Boys Club of Toronto or whatever and have Jim Gray up on a plane.
Bring Jimmy Gray back off of Tom Brady's pod there.
If he goes to free agency, we're going to get like another Kawhi situation where they have a helicopter following a car.
Oh, my gosh. You imagine putting him at the center, though, of Anaheim Mighty Ducks with the kids there?
Be fun.
Holy smokes. Like, the Kings aren't there yet, right? They're aging out. But Zegras and Milano and Lindholm and McTavish, and you throw Austin in the mix. The kid's a 700 goal scorer. Like, don't get it wrong. This kid's going to do it. 700 career goals. He's going to be an animal. You've just scratched the surface of what he can do.
Yeah. I don't know. I for whatever reason don't think he stays in Toronto, and I can't give you any real justification as to why. I just have a hunch, and I think it's like you mentioned, Jordan. It's been first round exits because when Washington was getting beat out in conference finals and second rounds, there was never any discussion about whether or not Ovechkin was going to leave.
No,
because they were getting eliminated in second and third rounds. But first round exits like this, like that's ugly.
Maybe it's because he's American. Does that matter?
Is it fishbowl?
It could be fishbowl, but Austin Matthews also, just to contradict that a little bit, seems like a guy who lives up to the fishbowl. Like, he doesn't shy away from the pitbull. I use Paul Correa always as an example of a player who you just got the sense he didn't really want to be marquee guy, marquee market, answering the questions every single day, like to drift a little bit. And I mean, Ryan Getzlaf, he loved his life in Anaheim and all this. Yeah. Like, there's been players who just don't excel in that sort of environment. Yeah. I feel like Austin Matthews has handled it to a T. A couple mistakes along the way, but he's like with a security guard mooning or whatever, but like he's rebounded, he's had like the greatest season that a Toronto Maple Leaf player has ever had.
Right.
Yeah, he's like, anytime you see him, like the guy's like just decked out to the nines. Like, he's like a fashion icon with a bad
friends
mustache.
With Biebers,
you
know what I mean?
Don't get it twisted, though, if he leaves, that this is the Leafs nation for everything that it is, and it's a lot on both sides of the ledger. It will cannibalize its own.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
We will hold... How many guys did you run out of town? The only guy really that you saved was Mats. And even in the end, you vilified Mats for not taking a trade and then leaving the offseason for nothing, which was nonsense. The team was garbage anyways. What were you going to get for him? But they'll vilify and cannibalize Austin Matthews if he leaves. But we revere guys like Alexander Kerfoot. Like, we're super cheesed that Kasperi Kapanen got away. Forget it. Leafs Nation.
Justin Bieber spends most of his time in LA. I just looked it up.
Oh, there you go. You see.
Doesn't shock me.
Jeepers.
No, or I wouldn't be hanging out in Stratford.
Milk sponsorship. The Ontario dairy farmers have come out, and now I'm sorry if I've jumbled this. This is the first sponsorship that's actually going on the jersey.
For the Leafs.
Am I wrong? Yeah, for the Leafs.
Yeah.
Because the Habs got RBC.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now they've had sponsors on the helmet.
Yes.
Okay.
The TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to this point, look, we all don't love it. It's the way it's going to go, so you just got to accept it a little bit.
Yeah.
I think this is actually pretty tasteful. And even if you can get by the fact it says milk and it's the Ontario Dairy Farmers, which is,
That's
whatever.
the best part. Like it
But
goes
the
so
actual-
unbelievably hard. I
know,
love
but
it.
the actual look of it, I'm like, okay, it sort of blends in, and
Yeah,
it is what it is.
That's why Kia worked on the Raptors jersey, because it was a red and white logo. I love this. Like it's amazing to me. And I don't mind the jersey sponsorship. Now I don't want like the Spengler Cup. But like I watch a lot of I watch a lot of soccer, and every team, like that's how you can tell what year your jersey is.
In my opinion, you charge a premium for one sponsorship. Like that's the only one. They own the jersey, and it's tasteful, and it's at the top, and you never think of it because Reebok's logo's been on jerseys and Nikes, and we never think about it because it's done in such a nice, discreet way. So as long as they stop at that, but yeah, you don't want arm sleeve gimmicks and helmet gimmicks. And
So what's the difference then? I asked this openly.
Okay.
The EPL has had sponsors primarily featured on their sweaters since 1976.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're buying Man United jerseys with chartered accountants.
Chevrolet logo.
AGI. or
Chevrolet.
AOG,
Yeah.
So I don't mind it. Probably because I'm a soccer fan, but like for me, it's like when you buy like a Chevrolet Manchester United jersey, you know that's from 2010 and 2011.
Right.
So like we were trying to figure it out with this Cujo painting behind us, what year it was actually from, and it was impossible to figure out.
Yeah.
Like I personally don't mind it, and you can do that with the small logos too. Like the Kia Raptors jersey is, I think that was the championship year, maybe the year after.
Yeah.
But like that's how you can tell. It's just obviously a lot bigger on soccer jerseys.
Yeah,
because their logos aren't as prominently featured. There were the NHL sponsor logos.
That's the difference for sure. But does it demean it?
I don't think so.
It does now. It won't in the future because it'll become normal. My dad uses the example of the first time they started putting advertisements on rink boards. Remember, it used to be like
it
blank
used to be
rink
white. Yeah.
boards. And the first time it came out, anyone watching was like, "Oh, this is garbage."
Well,
This is
people say the same
distracting."
thing about the ads on the ice.
On the ice,
Yeah.
behind the net when they like superimpose.
Yeah.
Logos?
Stuff on the glass or whatever. Did they release, I might have missed it. Did they release what the number was for milk?
I did not read what the number is.
See if I can find something.
But
It's got to be high.
it has to be.
Has to be. You're playing in the primary market, like between RBC and RBC has got the Habs.
Yes.
Yep.
To play in these major markets, like it's not Nashville.
How pissed is BMO about that?
Bank of Montreal, RBC coming in on your turf.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this in a slightly other direction and look at it through the prism of the Ontario Dairy Farmers. Milk needs this campaign.
Does it?
Since the got milk stuff, I sampled around the office, and people looked at me like I had three heads because I still drink milk with my dinner. Do you drink milk with your dinner?
No, I haven't had drink. I haven't drank milk in a year.
Matt, do you drink milk with your dinner?
I'm a big milk guy. I got a 2-liter carton of milk in my fridge that I regularly just grab and take a swig of.
Say I asked 15 people. Me and Matt would be the only two that routinely drink milk. And I said, well, why do you buy milk? Well, yeah, I put milk in coffee and tea and use it cereal, whatever, oatmeal. And I'm like, but since like my family apparently was the weird one that it was like a big glass of milk.
No.
Not juice, not anything like milk.
No, don't get it twisted. At the Million household, there's a group of 5 of us for dinner. When we were teenagers, you can forget it. We slaughtered the cow. Like that bag ate it.
Every time I go home, my parents buy 4 liters of milk if I'm going home for a weekend because they know I will. And
But
I
now
was told
no.
growing up it would make my bones strong, and now I'm a villain for drinking milk.
Yeah. 1 or
Leave me be.
2% quick.
One.
Get out of here.
I'm a 2.
I was 2 at one point.
My
now.
body
Yeah.
doesn't like me for it, but I'm a 2.
No, but once you make the transition to 1, you'll never go back to 2. I guarantee it. We were 2 growing up. You go to 1.
I might go the other way.
You go out. You get
Just
out on
free to
your
my
own. You
doctor.
try to. Trust me. You
Give me that
stick
4.
to 1.
I have as sensitive a palate as can be, and I can't decipher the difference between 1 and 2. So I think you'd be okay.
What are you?
I couldn't.
You feel it?
I said all right.
Have a glass of milk and go for a walk on a hot day. You'll be able to tell the difference between 1 and 2.
Nah,
Did you get a number?
Keith Watcho, the NHL's chief business officer and senior executive vice president, says he estimates NHL clubs will earn between $5 and $10 million a year from jersey ads.
$5 to $10 million a year.
Got milk?
But when we were just,
Holy
I'm not going to,
smokes.
look, I promise, I'm not going to belabor the point of the Ontario Dairy Farmers here, but think of all the highly successful advertising campaigns they have done over the years. Not a lot lately. And of course, there is that sort of like animal rights, vegan sort of, take on things. But there was not only the Got Milk, the Doug Gilmore
Oh, yeah.
cow leotards.
Yeah.
And then there was, remember it was like Beethoven, drink milk, love life, drink milk, love. Like they had all these things. Anyways, milk's making a comeback, baby.
Okay.
And they're spending $5 million to do it.
No, they're spending 10.
Yeah, that's a $10 million.
No, that's a
deal.
tenner.
Oh, it's 5 in Columbus. Maybe.
It's 5 in Nashville, where it's going to be like the local Curry Tire in Nashville.
The Panthers are going to have Publix on their jersey.
Sure.
For
And
$5
shout
million.
out Curry Tire, too.
I don't know what you were telling me a story off air about a friend of ours who thought that he was kind of chummy with a famous hockey player.
Yeah.
And I have not quite the same story, but I was going to Loyalist College at the same time as PK Subban,
Okay, yeah.
who was a star with the Belleville Bulls.
Correct.
Got an opportunity to interview him several times because the Bulls went to the OHL final that year.
Right.
And they were very good. It was a good team. They had Sean Matthias. He was
Oh,
in the
yeah.
NHL for a while. And just the nicest, most genuine guy. But PK, when he became sort of on the national radar, it was during the World Juniors, right? Him and John Tavares and Pat Quinn, and it was this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say that he treated me in an interview the same way as he treated the TSN people, and I really admired that because you're working on a school news thing, but he was awesome. Mm. And I also watched him play a playoff game against Sudbury, and I said, I don't think he's got it. A little small. He's a small, not a big guy.
Sure, not a big guy.
5'11", I think.
Yeah. And even that's probably generous. Certainly in shape and built and whatever. And then, obviously went on to a very nice career, including a Norris Trophy and this stuff. I'm amazed it went downhill as quickly as it did. Like his last even 3 years, say he hits 30, he's done.
Well, New Jersey doesn't help.
New Jersey doesn't help.
Right.
Even at the tail end, because originally it was a no-brainer, Nashville won that trade with the Montreal Canadiens. And then at the end, it's sort of, I don't know if it's a wash, but...
No, it's not. One of those teams. Oh, I guess they both went to Cup finals.
They both went to Cup finals.
Yeah, both went to Cup finals. Weber had a bigger impact for longer, but both finished very badly.
Both are probably retiring in the same summer, which is crazy given the age difference.
Shea's ankles, that's past now in terms of him being able to play again.
It's funny you mentioned Subban and Junior. I saw him play at the Jack Gatecliff Arena against the Ice Dogs once, which if you've ever been there, it's a small barn.
It's a Jack, baby.
And fans in Niagara, not nice. They're throwing popcorn at him, and he's trying to catch it while he's doing the interview.
Oh, yeah.
He's so charismatic.
Yep.
I hope PK Subban, and old head hockey fans are going to hate it, I hope he goes to Hockey Night in Canada. Something.
He's been doing TV for the last couple of years, right?
Give me something this guy's got too much character not to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Perfect TV transition in there.
Big week for defensemen.
Big week for defensemen.
Yeah.
Zdeno Chara. Out the door.
Yeah.
Done. I got an interesting sports oddity coming up a bit later on about Zdeno Chara, but does he finish first in games? He's close to the games played leader.
Yeah.
And
let me take a look.
This is a guy who, much like a lot of bigger defensemen, it took him a while to sort of navigate the water. When you put it in perspective, Ottawa willingly let this guy walk to keep Wade Redden because he hadn't arrived yet, even though he was probably 26 or 27. And then he showed up and was... The fact that he wins one Norris Trophy in his career is crazy. I know he ended up getting stumped by Lidstrom a bunch of times, but which is the story of Chris Pronger, too. But when I looked at him, it was... who else would you want on your team? Never loses a fight.
Never. George Laraque had a tie.
People are lucky that he, and I shouldn't say this to Habs fans with Pacioretty, because that was nasty, and I don't think he ever got the criticism he deserved on that, but...
Unintentional, I think, as a Habs fan.
It looked a little, I don't know.
He hit him in a bad spot. It happens.
Yeah. Well, either way, people were lucky he wasn't a lot meaner.
Yeah, because he could have been.
Everyone's favorite player to have on their team in NHL 2012. Because the guy, you couldn't get past the guy. Seventh all-time in games played behind Marleau, Howe, Messier, Yager, Francis, and Thornton.
Yeah.
You're in that category.
Only 99 games back of the record, though.
Matt Barzal tells a great story this week. Justin tells me, recants it for me, that Matthew Barzal is a young guy on the island with 45-year-old Chara. And they go in, they work out on the off day or after practice or whatever, and they're in the weight room, and Chara's the last to leave. So Barzal's like, I'm going to go in for 2 hours today. I'm going to make sure I'm the last guy, the old man. He's not going to make it. They normally work out 60 minutes, 75 minutes. He's 2 hours in, bagged. And here's Chara still going. Barzal's hitting the door. Then he's just an animal. He's a different human being. Barzal said on the other side of the coin is that he got to be the mythicism of his fighting and his strength. He actually hated it.
Yeah.
But guys would feel like they had to try him.
Yep.
But he would go to the visiting dressing room afterwards, like after the game, and like talk to the guy, like, "You all right? Like, is everything okay?" Or because he was, I mean, ask Mike Komisarek how it felt. Ask Brian Berard how it felt. Oh, was it Brian Berard?
Brian McCabe.
Oh, McCabe,
who
yeah.
he picked up and placed at a different spot.
That's
on
where
the
he
ice.
arrived on my radar.
Yeah.
Because Brian McCabe's not small.
No.
And he's just getting whipped around. I'm like, wait a minute, who is this guy?
Just, 15 feet of limbs and extremely strong. And it's he still could have kept going. Take a look at his last couple of years. Like, he's not embarrassing himself by any means playing on Long Island.
His father's a prominent Greco-Roman wrestler.
Sure.
Wow.
There's a guy there. You're never going to overtake him if he's your dad.
I'm looking at Chara, and I think Chris Neal took him down once in a fight. I think
Chris
those
Neal's
guys,
tough, dude.
Those guys are teammates.
That was probably, he didn't really.
I think him and LaRock got tied up and fell.
Yep.
But when those two squared off, it was one of those like, oh, okay. Like, that's when you sit down and watch. But like, all the big guys went after him. I don't think he ever got into it with John Scott. But like, Jamie Alexiak, who's like 6'8", tried him, couldn't do a thing.
Yeah.
Tom Wilson couldn't do a thing. It's scary how like effective he was at fighting, and he was really good at it.
Well, and he was just a really good player.
Yeah, that's
Lucic
right.
never wanted them after they both left it, so
Nope.
I would have liked that one.
Mm.
So he signs the one-day contract, retires as a member of the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
Which is fitting.
Good.
Second European captain ever to win the Stanley Cup, which was interesting.
Yeah, right.
And just sort of one of those guys and good internationally. And I think the conversation about him in terms of the all-time greats takes a step up if he wins one more cup.
Yes.
They lose in 2013, lose at home in a Game 7 to St. Louis.
Was he on that team, or was he gone by then?
I think he was on that team.
Yeah,
he was
for
gone
sure.
the next year, I guess. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but either way, it's somebody who had himself an absolutely fantastic career, as did 989 consecutive games for Keith Yandel.
Yeah.
Just a good career. It's a bit of a gimmick. I think he probably was done 3 years ago, but just kept going for the record.
I know.
I don't blame him.
There's a lot of people that, they at me all the time about, not on social media because I'm not that popular, but in the store, they always talk to me about like, oh, plus minus doesn't mean anything. To me, it still does. Like, take a look at Yandel's last couple of years. I know he's hanging on and the Iron Man's still a thing, and then they finally bench him, but like, he's minus 35. And no, I can't have that. And Keith's not playing the number one defensive pairing every night.
No.
Not at the end. So, terrific career. You don't take that away from him because he got to be plus 35 years old and got to be minus 35 on the ice. You don't take that away from him. Anybody that can play 989 straight.
That's impressive. So, like, Chara, I think, is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Are the other two just Hall of Very Good? Subban and Yandel?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Subban won a Norris, but I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
and
it was
love
also
PK
a
Subban.
short year, right?
Yeah, short year. I think if Subban, his career might have changed. The trajectory towards where he finished might have changed had he stayed in Montreal.
Yeah, he had two third place votes for the Norris.
Yeah, like there's got to be a window in there somewhere where you are the best player at your position, or for lack of a better term, you've got to be, if Nick was the best, then you've got to be Brad Park to the Bobby Orr type thing. And I don't think either of those guys had it.
Let's go to the emails. Took us a while to get here, but I promised it to you.
You've got mail.
Is Aaron Judge having the greatest Major League Baseball season of all time? That comes from Michael.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
I mean, what do you say? Like, if you had asked me 2 weeks ago, I would say no. Like, there's been better. Now, if you're going to tell me that you go over 60 home runs and win a Triple Crown, which is very close,
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure, look, I could go back and unpack. Babe Ruth had a 14 WAR season where he batted 393. He did all this stuff. And,
Sure.
Had much higher, Ted Williams had years of, 500 plus in OBP, and Mickey Mantle won a major league-wide Triple Crown. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. And, of course, Barry Bonds, if you're going to take what he did, he had a season with over 600, on-base percentage and home runs. But I just think it at least is in the discussion if he does hold on and win the Triple Crown for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has to.
He's leading in average, home runs, RBIs, on base, slugging percentage,
OPS,
on base plus,
yep.
total bases, WAR. Like, he is an absolute animal. And even going back to the 2001 Bonds, Bonds obviously didn't win the average title.
Nope.
He hit 73 home runs.
Didn't have the most RBIs.
Didn't have the most RBIs. Didn't have the most runs. Had the most walks. He had like 100 and whatever it was, 120 intentionals. This guy's on this. There's going into now. We're recording on Wednesday night, so there would be 14 games remaining going into the night of this broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's entirely possible. Like Judge is on the doorstep of doing like the record for total bases, 457, is 1921 Ruth.
Yep.
It's not 27 Ruth.
Nope.
Him and Gary being mashers.
372 total bases as of right now for Aaron Judge.
Right. He's 85 shy of Ruth. That speaks to the overall, but even his fielding. He's not like he is a solid, he's not a gold glover, but he is a solid outfielder. And I know Shohei is doing what he's doing, but this may be the best statistical hitting season maybe of all time.
Some of these numbers vary a little bit depending on which source you're going to, because I know some have docked a couple of RBIs, but Ruth 1921 consensus, 378, 59 homers, 171 RBIs, 177 runs, which is the modern record.
Yeah.
And a 14 WAR.
The 378 is what's staggering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he
insane.
hit for extremely high average. Now, the modern person would say, like, well, okay, not really use of bullpens. The league wasn't integrated, so it's already a little bit watered down.
Sure.
You can't argue against that. It's
yeah,
true.
you're right. It's true.
It's for sure.
Probably hits 10 WAR. Close to
He's
it.
close.
He's at 9.7 right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
So it's in the conversation.
Yeah.
And yet there still is that prevailing feeling that there are people who are like, well, he doesn't pitch.
I know. Get out of here with that.
I'm a big Ohtani guy, and I think what he does is remarkable, but this year it's no question.
Like, if we're talking about 100 years ago and having Capital PTBO Sports Show in 1921, fine. I can get behind that because we're a couple of years removed from Ruth being an everyday pitcher and player. Fine. Get out of here with this. Well, he can't throw a fastball. I know Shohei is a different talent, but we can't just de facto give him the MVP every single season because the kid can throw the 2.53 ERA and have 12 wins. Jeepers, we can't. There's an MVP for the pitcher. There's an MVP for the hitter.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's not one. Maybe they'll call a Shohei Award.
Inspire people to become two-way players.
Yeah, instead of two sport athletes, you have
Yeah.
two position athletes.
Here we go. Email. This one comes from Sammy.
You've got mail.
How are you guys feeling about the Bills? The Bills have basically lived up to what we thought and more. And you're just salivating over there. I'm going to turn my microphone off.
No.
I'm not gonna
You
say
thought
a
the
word.
Bills were going to lose to the Rams. I don't want to hear it.
You watch your mouth right now. Nobody watched that episode. Nobody even knew that.
I've got it all. 72 points for, 17 against. Like, that's nasty.
And they didn't hang those on anybody's. Like, this was the number one seed in the AFC.
Yep.
Tennessee, not too far removed, and the Super Bowl champs.
I was watching that Tennessee game on, that was the Monday Nighter. It was 10-7 when I started watching, and then I probably turned it off within 20 minutes because I knew it was over.
Yeah.
And
Derek,
even if it's apparent that Tennessee is going to take a step back. But
yeah.
that being said, this is still a team that has a pretty stout defense and can run the ball. Derrick Henry, under 2 yards per carry.
Yeah, 13 on 25 yards.
I'm wondering if this is the year for him. You know how running backs are great, and then one year they just fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
There's no gradual decline for most of them.
No.
It's like Sean Alexander, MVP, out of the league in 2 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And especially in week 1, I think he got lit up by a Giants linebacker where it was like, ooh,
Yeah.
Right.
obviously a big guy.
Yeah.
So that's it. But the Bills, they've been fun.
They're all
You can get
gosh.
excited. Josh Allen is an amazing, MVP front runner,
Yeah.
even going into the season, but now especially after 2 games.
Yeah.
And it's just been well-rounded and good. And I'm a Rams fan, and they didn't belong on the same field. The fact that it was 10-10 at halftime in week 1 was flattering.
Yeah.
They had 3 turnovers, and it was still tied.
Yeah.
On the road. And then what they were able to do with Tennessee is amazing, and the atmosphere was great. And hey, Bills fans, like, I can say a lot, but I'm pulling for you, man.
Von Miller adds a way different dimension. Like, it just changes the flavor of that entire defense. And they don't have Tre'Davious White. Right? They haven't played. But Vaughn coming off the edge is hurting guys' feelings.
I've seen this on Twitter a few times. Is the world ready for like an Eagles-Bills Super Bowl? Like, one of those cities will be completely engulfed in flames. And it'll probably be the winning city.
It would have been crazy if the Eagles hadn't won the Super Bowl a few years ago and it was like one-on-one, like who's going to win. But now, even still, I'm not sure if we're ready for that.
They were eating horse poop when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Cheaper. Don't corroborate that story. I don't know if that's true. Like, we can't listen to that.
Don't Google that. Right now.
Philadelphia's not for real. Like, get out of here. Jalen Hurts.
2-0.
I know 2-0, but
Lions and Commanders?
yeah, Lions and Commanders.
Was it the Commanders?
Lions are 1-1.
Yeah. Is that who they beat? No, Vikings. Oh, actually, that was a pretty
okay.
good
Yeah,
win.
you're right. Yeah. But, I mean, Washington hung 35 on them.
Yeah.
Get out of here. That's over.
Going to be a lot of fun. Do we got any picks? We got any picks for this week? This week's a tricky week, actually.
It is a tricky week. How's your survivor pool going if you're still in one?
I am still in
Holy
one.
smoke. So am I.
Denver scared me.
Yeah. There's nobody on the face of the earth that hasn't had a scare so far in the first 2 weeks of Survivor. I took the Rams last week.
That
Nearly
got
blew
bad.
it. Nearly blew
Got
it.
bad near the end. Matt, do we got a little NFL films here? You're leaving me dry.
Oh, we do. Oh, I got to figure out which button it is now.
Uh-oh. Just start hammering
roulette.
buttons. All right.
Oh, come on.
You got her.
Nailed it for a shot. I'm going to take the Vikings to rebound -6 against the Detroit Lions.
Wow.
I like the Patriots at home +3 against the Ravens. The Ravens, the fact that they gave up that lead,
Yeah,
I mean, this isn't your brother's Ravens with a good defense.
that's true.
I know I was just talking up the Bills. I kind of like Miami +6 at home.
Stop it.
That's a big number for a home team.
They're going to lose by 30.
That's an interdivision, though. I don't like that.
And last but not least here, I like the Packers +2 on the road. A lot of underdogs this week. They take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Give me straight money line. Browns over Steelers because I always play them tough.
Whoa.
And they coughed one up last week. They're going to come back angry. And Jets over Bengals. Or Bengals over Jets because the Bengals have to win eventually. And if you're going to do it, it's going to be against the Jets.
I'll sit on the other side of that line at 5.5 Cincinnati. I know that the prevailing thought is they can't go to 0-3, but Joe Flacco's an old man that can still, he's 82 seconds away, fires 2 touchdowns in Cleveland's the Jets. Like, I understand that. I think Kansas City 6 points on Indy. Like, this Indy team is in big, they're in deep water.
They're
Like,
terrible.
They are, I like Kansas City Chiefs on the 6 points there. Really, otherwise, though, I mean, the week, I like the Raiders are getting 2.5 in Tennessee. Is it maybe like a West Coast bias? They don't travel well to the East Side, which is generally the case.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other one, like I like, is the Seahawks at home is 1 point on Atlanta. I know Mariota's keeping them in games. They're playing tough. They're aggressively running the ball.
One final email here. Is Matt going to pick a new team? This comes from Wanda.
I have
Your mom's
She was
interested in
she
your
was
pick.
bugging me about this earlier, and I said, "Listen to the show." I have picked a favorite team. So you guys gave me 4 options: the
Yes.
Packers, the Bears, the Jaguars, and the Chargers.
Yes.
I immediately eliminated the Packers,
Okay.
which is funny because they beat my favorite team, the Chicago Bears, last week.
Oh.
I've chosen the Bears because no, hear me out. Maybe they're not the most exciting, but that week 1 was fun, sliding around in the mud.
Yep.
Okay.
I hate Los Angeles sports teams, and I
Okay.
hate the state of Florida.
Fair.
So really, it just comes down to geography.
That is true. If the Rams were based in LA when I was younger, I would never have picked them.
Yeah,
They're
sure,
in St.
exactly.
You
Louis.
never would have watched them.
And I just like Soldier Field. Like it feels old school. I like playing in the mud. Like I like the
They're all
Bears for
about
that.
the mud over there.
I
Yeah.
know.
likes it.
Big mud guy.
Dick Butkus, Gale Sayers.
Gale Sayers, sweetness.
Yeah.
So I'm a Chicago Bears fan now after they get shelled by the Green Bay Packers.
You may want to hang on to that. That might be a freebie. Walter Payton. He's probably going to be one of the answers coming up unless we're doing something like in the reverse, the lowest running back yardage of all time or something wild.
Starting running backs, Zach Stacy, who had the least.
Yeah.
I'm excited to bring this one back. It's the Docs Box. So not every week, but every now and then I like to give a recommendation on documentaries.
Oh, Mark, you kicking
You're
cameras
kicking
around
cameras all over the place.
Man,
You're moving the table.
I can't have this
get
thing.
a-
You ruined the show. I got it.
What
Can
are
we
we
get a
having?
reset here,
Oh, my
people?
goodness.
Like, holy.
If we're going to
geez.
reset, then I'm going to move my chair in too.
Oh, we're doing it live.
There we go. No problem.
Let's keep going.
So Disney Plus has started to add basically all the ESPN 30 for 30s. So if you're Canadian, you can start having more access to them. It was hard to find for a really long time. And also the Uncut series has been released on Netflix, which has had some pretty good ones. We did
Yes.
talk about the Manti Te'o.
Yeah.
But my recommendations for the Docs Box, because I am in super college football mode at this point,
Sure.
is Catholics versus Convicts. Have you seen Catholics versus Convicts?
Yes.
No.
Oh my
Catholics
gosh.
Versus Convicts was made in 2016.
Yeah.
And it was a film about the October 15th, 1988 game between Notre Dame and Miami. And basically the backdrop of this was that there was a student who created a knockoff shirt.
Yes.
And it was Catholics versus Convicts, of course, Catholic University and Notre Dame. And then what we now know was somewhat of a racially charged stab at what was going on at the University of Miami,
Absolutely.
which had players that were violating, and most of them happen to be of African-American descent. So there's a big storyline about that. But these were the two marquee programs at the time. It's a catchy title.
Yeah.
It's a riveting story, especially because the guy who thought that he was getting away scot-free with the shirts ended up, I believe, being a walk-on the basketball team. And
Yeah,
but
that's
he
right.
could never, but they caught him before
Yeah, that's right.
and kicked him off the team. So he was never able to actually live his dream of playing for the University of Notre Dame in a sport because of this particular shirt. And
But
it's
he
lived
sold 10,000 shirts.
Yes.
In fact, Nike picked it up later on, like 30 years later. Picked it up in their slogan series tees. Catholics versus Convicts. I believe Michael Irvin's in Miami then. Like, and there was a lot of nonsense. The University of Miami, and certainly they got a bad look. And
I don't
Notre
remember if it
Dame's
was the same one, but they came off the plane wearing army fatigues. That could have been a different game, but it was a different atmosphere at that point, right?
yeah, for
So,
sure.
But if
That's
you
a
want to
great
check
one.
it out, Catholics versus Convicts, it was pretty good. The 87th in the 30 for 30 series. Staying with the football theme, because why not? It's that season. It's time for our mano-a-mano showdown.
It's not
NFL
gonna be
rushing single season over 1,800 yards. It's only been done, I believe, 23 times.
Over 1,800?
Yes.
pretty. I don't know 18 running backs.
Oh, you won't need to, big fella. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't say Christian McCaffrey,
It's been done
or do say him.
23 times.
Over 1,800 rushing
Yeah.
yards in a season.
Yep. The record is 2,105. I won't give you the name because I would give away an answer.
Me first?
Yeah.
LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yes.
Okay.
1815 and 2006.
Oh, 1850. Latour gets the 23rd, dude.
Listen.
Oh, my gosh.
What a start.
What a start. Okay, I'll give you the 2105 is Eric Dickerson.
Eric Dickerson, he did it on 3 separate occasions, which is amazing. He did it in 1984. That's the year you referenced. He also did it as a rookie, and then as a third year or fourth year player. What a start!
Yeah.
for ED.
And now I'm in trouble.
Oh, no.
Saquon Barkley. Yeah, no. This is going to be an ugly one.
Okay, let's give him a mulligan. How about this one? How about Ford Bronco? How about that as a clue?
Oh, I know who that is.
Al Cowling. Okay, we'll say him.
O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
Let's go. My guy.
Yeah.
The Juice.
Your guy, Orenthal.
The Juice did it 2 different times,
Yeah.
including being the first one to 2000, the only player to do it in a 14-game season.
The
Yes.
Juice. I'm going to go with Adrian Peterson.
Yes, the second highest total ever, 2,097.
Well, that was my next guess.
I gave you one earlier on your favorite team.
Yeah, you already gave me one. What? Oh,
Yeah, your favorite team.
I
Sam.
don't remember who you said.
There's only one. It's Chicago. There's only one.
Was a diehard Chicago Bears fan.
Matt Forte.
You also would have had one probably on your old Cleveland Browns team.
I was only a fan for 5 years.
Well, this guy was kind of a big deal.
Maybe. I don't know.
Matt's not
Marshawn
what we call a
Lynch.
history major.
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna try to like swing off the board with a couple of guys that like you wouldn't know.
Still,
Okay,
still got 8 minutes left here.
Uh,
Drag it out.
Okay, give me Jamal Adams.
Who?
No, Jamal Adams absolutely did.
Jamal Adams. Oh, you got the last name wrong.
Oh, Jamal Lewis.
No, that's a strike, and it's my guess now.
Okay, if that's a strike, that's the end of this game then, because I'm going to let you suffer here, and I'm going to name 15 in a row now.
Well, it's my turn.
Okay, go.
Jamal Lewis.
Oh, you cheater. Jamal,
Third highest total.
Let's
go.
2000.
okay, fine. No, that's it. No,
One strike each.
No more nice guy.
Yep, that's it. Barry Sanders.
Yes. Two different occasions. The fourth highest total as well, 2053. Co-MVP, 1997.
Walter Payton.
Yes. That's sweetness.
There he
Did it
is.
one time.
Okay. Tiki Barber.
Yes.
Oh, you're just naming the guys I know. It's cruel.
1860. And if I'm not mistaken, oh no, he played one more year after that, but he walked out pretty close to the top, Tiki Barber.
Yeah, he was like retired in his prime. Oh gosh, I don't know.
Give you a hint. There's two active players.
Too active?
Yeah. They list Peterson as active, but he's not. There's two other ones.
Oh, Frank Gore?
No.
Damn.
I
He's
think
just
that's
put up a
3
lot of
strikes.
numbers
Is that
over
3?
40 years.
Okay.
I think this is a clincher right here, buddy.
No. Now we're going to run the train now. He disrespected me on the TV here.
Jamal Adams.
Okay, get out of here. Don't say the name again. Okay, one of the active guys, Jonathan Taylor.
Yes, last year.
Okay.
I didn't even know that. Who is Jonathan Taylor?
Oh, he's only the
Colts.
stud for the Colts. Jim Brown.
Jim Brown.
Oh, I should have known that one.
Yep, the original record, 1863.
Terrell Davis.
Terrell Davis had a 2,000-yard season.
Sean Alexander.
Sean Alexander, MVP year of 2005, 1880.
Ricky Williams.
Ricky Williams, 1853. Oh, this is impressive.
Derrick Henry. Anybody say Derrick Henry?
2027. Yep.
Really? I didn't know that either.
Boy, we're down to
DeMarco Murray.
yes.
He's like
1845.
18 something. Yeah.
I think you only got 2 left. 3 left.
13, 14 guys. Chris Johnson from
Yes.
Tennessee.
Yes. 2006. Like 2006 yards in 2009 was the season. You definitely know the last 2. But I don't know if they're going to come right to your mind.
Earl Campbell.
Yes. Oh, I lied.
Wow.
Now there's 2 more.
Earl
my
Campbell. Jamal Anderson, the Dirty
The
Birds.
Dirty Bird.
Come on, Jamal.
1846.
See, this is a weird one for me. Like 18, I'm struggling on. I don't think Emmitt Smith ever did it.
No.
Like I think there's actually marquee running backs that probably didn't.
Does the last one have 1883?
Yes.
Okay.
1883.
You're right, though. Emmitt Smith fell short. Edgerrin James.
Yeah,
Larry
Edgerrin James,
Johnson,
Marshall
Priest
Falk.
Holmes.
There's Priest Holmes.
Larry Johnson missed it by 11 yards.
Jerome Bettis, no. Tony Dorsett, no.
You want the year for the last one?
Yeah.
2003.
Oh, jeepers. 2003.
I'll say there's a little bit of a Jordan connection here.
Michael Jordan connection?
No, to me and my fandom.
Oh.
Where?
You just wait for it.
2003.
While we wait, Jamal Adams once had 61 yards on an interception.
Okay, I told you about Jamal Adams.
I actually was thinking you were meaning Jamal Anderson, and then you went Jamal Lewis, and I thought, either one could
Jamal
work.
Anderson. Yeah, sure would work. 2003.
Give it to him, Jordan.
Green Bay Packers.
Oh, Amon Green.
Yeah. Now, why is he connected to me? Because he played for the University of Nebraska.
Okay.
Oh, he's a Husker.
I was going to say, yeah, because he never played for the Rams.
Yeah, he was part of some of their really good teams. Mark, that was thrilling and impressive.
I was.
You outdid yourself, my man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We like to usually end off the show with a little bit of a sports oddity. So I dug this one up. We talked about Zdeno Chara a little bit earlier on in the show.
Yeah.
There are now, with his retirement, there are no active players left who lost to the Toronto Maple Leafs in a playoff series. That's it.
I didn't know you were going to do that.
That's it.
I saw the trolls out on Facebook. Are you kidding
Last
me?
one. But some interesting facts.
Yeah,
So
give us the 03 Sens facts.
Okay,
here.
so the last team to lose to them, the 03-04 Ottawa Senators,
Yeah.
and Zdeno Chara was on it. But there were 20 players on the roster that were actually younger than him at the time. He was 26.
Yeah, that's hard to imagine.
Including the two youngest, Jason Spezza, who was 20, and Brooks Laich, who I'd forgot had even a cup of coffee with the Ottawa Senators. I had no clue. And then there was Peterborough's own Mike Fisher was on that team.
Yep.
Jody Hull.
Jody Hull.
Wade Redden, would he have been around
Wade
then?
Redden
He would have
absolutely
been,
would
yeah.
have. And then we know Hossa and
Yeah.
Alfredson and the gang. But no players left to have lost.
That's
to
a
the Toronto
more
Maple Leafs.
fun stack. That 03-04 Sens team had 20 guys younger than Chara, and Chara was the last guy to finish it.
Was Heatley there yet?
No.
Still with, who was he with? Atlanta?
Atlanta.
Yeah.
And he joined Ottawa. In
Yeah,
the,
easy, big fella. Easy.
Forgot
way
about
too
that.
soon.
On the free agency, no.
He joined the 05-06.
Yeah.
Was the first
And then he
year that
scored
went
50
through.
that year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 50 and 07.
First 2 years with Ottawa, I thought he scored.
Yeah.
Talk about a guy that dropped off. Wow.
Yeah.
Big time.
Absolutely. Well, this was a fun show, and we've got a lot to cover. And Mark, if people want to come down and check out the store, we are located at 370 George Street North, online anytime at thecapitalptbo.ca. And if you want to support the program, you can check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/capitalptbo. And we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up over the next few weeks. And it's just a really fun time to be a sports fan.
Oh,
The
it's the
thing I
best
can say.
time of year.
We're going to start talking some Pete's hockey.
Pete's hockey.
Yep. OHL's
Gonna get
firing up.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you're
yes.
gonna get the baseball playoffs. You're gonna get NFL full swing. You're gonna get hockey's gonna start up.
Basketball in a few more months.
I do want to give a little bit of a special shout out to my slow pitch team, the Steamers.
What happened?
Finished the regular season 19-2-1,
Oh,
a plus 225 run differential, scored more than 400 runs, and we are coming up in the playoffs this weekend.
400 runs in 21 games, 22 games.
Yeah.
What about
Holy
your other
smokes.
slow pitch team, the MNC Ravens, who only lost by 5 in their only playoff
They
game?
basically had the reverse of the record I just said. Only 2 wins the whole season.
Two in, I think, 16. More games canceled than played.
The
All right,
reverse-
Steamers. I know they watch, so.
Yeah,
There you go.
I like it. That's good.
You've been listening to the Capital PTBO Sports Show, an MNC podcast production, also simulcast on your TV. Peterborough Lindsay, we will talk again next week.